Good afternoon, ENG1D1, Miss Boshcoff here. Today we're going to take a look at Act 4, Scene 1. Let's take a look here at the summary notes. Oberon watches as Titania and the fairies entertain Bottom. Remember, she is in love with him. When she and Bottom fall asleep, Oberon tells Puck that Titania has given him the servant child, and so he now will release her from the spell. Titania awakes, wondering why she was in love with an ass. Oberon then tells Puck to take the ass head off of Bottom. He predicts that Lysander and Hermia and Demetrius and Helena will be married on the same day that Theseus and Hippolyta are married. We talk about this type of prediction as a foreshadowing. So here we see that Oberon is foreshadowing marriage for all of the lovers. And again, for Shakespeare, this is one of the details that helps to define what comedy meant for him. Theseus and Hippolyta enter the forest at that moment and discover the four lovers asleep. Let's take a look here at the sketch on the opposite page. Here we can clearly see that unbeknownst to the lovers, the four lovers, they have each fallen asleep within close proximity to each other. In the background here, we also see that Duke Theseus and Hippolyta and some other people are encroaching on this area. Now, the question that I've written here is, what are they doing in the forest? I will tell you, they are here to observe the rites of May. It is May Day, 4 days later from the beginning of the play. It is the day that Theseus and Hippolyta are to be wedded as well. I wanted to just point out that there are dogs in this scene as well, and they are going to play an important role as we continue. Lysander explains to Theseus why he and Hermia are in the forest. Aegeus, hearing that the couple were trying to flee the Athenian law, demands punishment for Lysander. But the lovers now seem reconciled to each other, and so Theseus overrules Aegeus's will and instead invites the lovers to be married at his own wedding ceremony that day. After the group leaves the forest to head back to the city of Athens, Bottom wakes up and tries to make some sense of his own dream. Now here we see dream is in quotation marks, meaning, of course, questioning, was it really a dream? Very good. Okay, so let's turn over here. Act 4, Scene 1. We see Lysander, Demetrius, Helena, and Hermia are lying asleep. And as we know, they are in close proximity to one another. Enter Titania and Bottom, Peas Blossom, Cobweb, Moth, Mustard Seed, and other fairies attending. Oberon behind, unseen. So this next scene, we see that Oberon is watching from beyond, and he is actually going to feel rather sorry for what his wife Titania has to endure. And he's actually going to look forward to releasing her from the spell. Okay, let's do this.
Sit me down upon this flowery bed, while I thy amiable cheeks do coy, and stick musk roses in thy sleek, smooth head, and kiss thy fair, large ears, my gentle joy.
Where's Peas Blossom? Scratch my head, Peas Blossom. Where's Monsieur Cobweb? Monsieur Cobweb? Oh, Monsieur, get your weapon in your hand and kill me a red-hip tumblebee on the top of a thistle. And, good Monsieur, bring me the honey bag. Do not fret yourself too much in the action, Monsieur. And good Monsieur, have a care the honey bag break not. I would be loath to have you overflow with the honey bag, Signor. Where's Monsieur Mustard Seed? Give me a leaf, Monsieur Mustard Seed. Pray, leave your courtesy, good Monsieur.
What's your will?
Nothing. good monsieur, but to help Cavalieri Cobweb scratch. We must to the barber's, monsieur, for methinks I am marvellous hairy about the face. And I'm such a tender ass, if my head do but tickle me, I must scratch.
Okay, so here we see that this is indeed dramatic irony. We are in on a secret. And of course, the secret is that Bottom here is indeed a tender ass, is he not? He's talking about how he feels like his hair is extra hairy and he best go to the barber and get it shaved off. But, of course, we are in on the secret that, of course, his face is very hairy. He has been transformed into a donkey, into an ass.
Wilt thou hear some music, my sweet love?
I have a reasonable good ear in music. Let's have the tongs and the bow.
Again, here we have dramatic irony. He does indeed have a good ear. He has very, very, very large ears, in fact.
Or say, sweet love, what thou desirest to eat.
Truly, a peck of provender. I could munch your good dry oats. Methinks I have a great desire to a bottle of hay. Good hay, sweet hay hath no fellow.
Okay, so here we see that Bottom is desiring to have some provender. Provender, if you look on the other side, a peck of provender, a quantity of food such as hay or corn, which usually is what animal feed is made of. So the fact that he is desiring this to eat is again dramatic irony. We are in on the secret that of course he would desire to eat this. He has been transformed into a donkey after all. Now in the next few lines we see a few examples of what the Victorians would call bawdy humor. Not B-O-D-Y, but B-A-W-D-Y humor. This particular type of humor had sexual innuendo in it. And of course, this wordplay, this type of wordplay would have the various populations, types of populations, the classes, the different classes in stitches over this bawdy humor.
An adventurous fairy that shall seek the squirrel's hoard and fetch thee new nuts.
Yes, indeed, she said, fetch thee new nuts, and that is bawdy humor. There is definitely some sexual innuendo there. He's going to respond that he would rather, instead of getting new nuts, he would rather have a handful or two of, yes, dried peas. And the fact that he is referring to 2 dried peas here is sexual innuendo as well. It is bawdy humor.
I'd rather have the 2 dried peas. But I pray let none of your people stir me. I have an exposition of sleep come upon me.
Sleep thou,
He's sleepy.
and I will wind thee in my arms.
There.
Fairies be gone, and be always away. So doth the woodbine the sweet honeysuckle gently entwist. The female ivy so enrings the barky fingers of the elm. Oh, how I love thee, how I dote on thee.
And they fall asleep together. Enter Puck, enter Oberon.
Welcome, good one. Seest thou this sweet sight? Her dotage now I do begin to pity.
Okay, so he's saying here, her obsession, her dotage, I now feel sorry for her. I'm starting to pity what I've put my wife through.
For meeting her of late behind the wood, seeking sweet favours for this hateful fool, I did upbraid her and fall out with her.
Okay, upbraid her means I told her off, and fall out means he got into a big fight with her. So seeing them together, he got into a big fight with Titania about it, and he was able to get her to feel so badly about her behavior with Bottom that she very easily and quickly turned over the changeling boy to him. So, in other words, he manipulated her.
For she, his hairy temples then had rounded with coronet of fresh and fragrant flowers, and that same dew which sometime on the buds was wont to swell like round and orient pearls, stood now within the pretty floweret's eyes, like tears that did their own disgrace bewail.
Okay, so she was crying over her behavior with Bottom.
When I had at my pleasure taunted her, and she in mild terms begged my patience, I then did ask of her changeling child, which straight she gave me, and her fairy sent to bear him to my bower in fairy land.
Okay, so he's telling Puck that he has been successful in getting, finally, what he's always wanted, which is the changeling boy. This changeling boy will now serve as his henchman. Now, he is going to say that he felt badly about doing this, but it was all worth it. It is essentially manipulation. Manipulation, M-A-N, by a man. He better feel bad because it's truly humiliating for her, what he's done.
And now I have the boy, I will undo this hateful imperfection of her eyes. And gentle Puck, take this transformed scalp from off the head of this Athenian swain, that he awaking when the other do, may all to Athens back again repair, and think no more of this night's accidents, but as the fierce vexation of a dream.
Now these last few lines here, 66, 67, and 68, are important to remember. He is establishing that what will happen is that when these people awake, they will simply look back on the occurrences as if it was all a big dream. Hence the name of the play, A Midsummer Night's Dream.
But first I will release the fairy queen. Be as thou wast wont to be. See as thou wast wont to see. Dian's bud or Cupid's flower hath such force and blessed power.
Okay, so he is applying the antidote here to the love potion.
Now, my Titania, wake you, my sweet queen.
My Oberon, what visions have I seen? Methought I was enamored of an ass.
There lies your love.
How came these things to pass? Oh, how my eyes do loathe his visage now.
Silence a while. Robin, take off this head. Titania, music call, and strike more dead than common sleep of all these 5%.
Okay, so he is saying, okay, Robin, now you can take off this ass head, off of this poor soul, Bottom. And he's going to also say to Robin, now put these 4 lovers into a very, very deep sleep, very much like the type of sleep, the deadness of sleep when somebody passes away. So, in other words, put them in a far deeper sleep than normal.
Music, oh, music such as charmeth sleep. Now, when thou wakest, with thine own fool's eyes peep.
Sound music. Come, my queen, take hands with me, and rock the ground whereon these sleepers be. Now thou and I are new in amity, and will tomorrow midnight solemnly dance in Duke Theseus' house triumphantly, and bless it to all fair prosperity. There shall the pairs of faithful lovers be, wedded with Theseus, all in jollity.
Okay, so again here we see that Oberon, he is no ordinary fairy. He has the power to see into the future. Now, whether he contributes to that future or whether he's just seeing into the future is unknown to us. However, he clearly can see into the future at the very least. He foreshadows here that that tomorrow night, Titania, now that we are back together, now that we are in new amity, tomorrow night we are going to dance so triumphantly in Duke Theseus's house. We're also going to bless everybody in the house and make sure that all is well and make sure that everybody is prosperous. He then also foreshadows the marriage of the lovers. He says on line 90, "There shall the pairs of faithful lovers be, wedded with Theseus, all in jollity." So he foreshadows that somehow all will be well, and in fact, the four lovers will all be married very, very happily in jollity. Now, this is important to note because for Shakespeare, the category of comedy usually ended with the marriage of some individuals, at least one marriage. In this case, we're going to see several marriages. In addition to that, everything will be put back into its proper order. Let's continue.
Ringing attendant, Mark, I do hear the morning lark.
Then, my queen, in silence sad, trip we after nightshade. We the globe can compass soon, swifter than the wandering moon.
Come, my lord, and in our flight, tell me how it came this night that I sleeping here was found, with these mortals crowned.
Okay, so Oberon then looks at Titania, who looks very confounded. She's very confused about what has happened, what has taken place. And he says, "Then my queen in silence sad." Don't be so sad. We will travel the world very soon together, and I'll have a lot of time to explain to you how all of these things occurred. Okay, so enter Theseus, Hippolyta, Aegeus, and their attendants. Okay, so we see that these horns are winded within. That means that the Duke is in the proximity, is in the area when these horns go off. They announce his arrival.
Go, one of you, find out the forester, for now our observation is performed.
All right, so what are they doing in the forest? Well, I think I've mentioned this already. They are in the forest because it is May the 1st. It is his wedding day, but it is also May the 1st. They observed this day as a day of great celebration, May Day, when coupling of different species would occur. So humans and animals alike would couple up in preparation for procreation.
Since we have the flower of the day, my love shall hear the music of my hounds. Uncouple in the western valley. Let them go! Dispatch, I say, and find the forester.
All right, so Theseus here is saying, okay, since we've already done all of our rituals related to May Day, we've done our little celebration, I think what I'm going to do now is just let my dogs run wild and just have fun because we've already finished everything and it's still early in the day. Hippolyta is going to go on to explain that she has experienced this before with dogs, hunting dogs. She's going to explain, once when she was in Crete, which is in Greece, she spent some time with Hercules and Cadmus. These are male heroes, mythical heroes. And she's going to say that she did observe very powerful hounds crying and hunting for prey. Theseus is going to take this opportunity to do some bragging And he's going to try to impress her by saying, oh, that my hounds are bred of this Spartan kind. So he here is trying to impress her with the quality of the hounds that he has.
I've been up to the mountain's top and marked the musical confusion of hounds and echo in conjunction.
I was with Hercules and Cadmus once, when in a wood of Crete they bayed the bear with hounds of Sparta. Never did I hear such gallant chiding, for besides the groves, the skies, the fountains, every region near seemed all one mutual cry. I never heard so musical a discord, such sweet thunder.
My hounds are bred out of the Spartan kind, so flued, so sanded, and their heads are hung with ears that sweep away the morning dew. Crook-kneed and dew-lapped like Thessalian bulls, slow in pursuit, but matched in mouth like bells, each under each. A cry more tunable was never hollowed to nor cheered with horn in Crete, in Sparta, nor in Thessaly.
So again, he is definitely bragging here. He's saying, my hounds, my hunting hounds, are far exceed anything that you have ever experienced, he says. In fact, they have a cry more tunable, more enjoyable than anything that anyone has ever experienced in Crete, in Sparta, or in Thessaly. These are different places. So he says, judge when you hear. You'll see, hear it for yourself. I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth.
Judge when you hear. But stop. What?
My lord, this is my daughter here asleep. But this Lysander, this Demetrius is, this Helena, only this Helena. I wonder of their being here together.
No doubt they rose up early to observe the rite of May, and hearing our intent came here in grace of our solemnity. But...
Okay, so he's saying, well, I would assume that they have heard that we plan to come to the forest, and they wanted to honor us by joining us in observing the May Day rituals. So he's guessing, of course, as to why they are here.
Is not this the day that Hermia should give answer her choice?
It is, my lord.
Go, bid the huntsmen wake them with their horns. Good morrow, friends. St. Valentine is past. Begin these woodbirds but to couple now.
Okay, so here we see Lysias actually has a bit of a humorous side to him. He's joking with them and saying, why are you coupled up here in the woods? You know, St. Valentine's Day has already passed. It's not, as good of a day to choose your couple, to choose your coupling as is Valentine's Day.
Pardon, my lord. I pray you all stand up. I know you two are rival enemies. How comes this gentle concord in the world, that hatred is so far from jealousy to sleep by hate and fear no enmity?
My lord, I shall reply amazedly, half sleep, half waking. But as yet I swear I cannot truly say how I came here.
Okay, so this is very believable, right? He's saying I'm half asleep, I'm half awake. But let's recall that he was just moments ago in a very, very, very deep sleep. King Oberon had directed Puck to ensure that they were in a dead sleep like death. So of course he's quite confused when he wakes up.
But as I think, for truly would I speak, and now I do bethink me so it is, I came with Hermia hither. Our intent was to be gone from Athens, where we might, without the peril of the Athenian law...
Enough, enough! My lord, you have enough. I beg the law upon his head. They would have stolen away, they would, Demetrius. Thereby to have defeated you and me, you of your wife, and me of my consent that she should be your wife.
All right, so here we see Lysander comes completely clean to the Duke. Now, he would have taken an oath to always be truthful and answer his Duke. So he knows he doesn't have any choice here. He must tell the truth. Now here Aegeus, his spitefulness at the situation comes is quite evident, right? So he is wanting for the Duke to punish Lysander in the strictest sense. He will not have his plans for his daughter, fallen away.
My lord, fair Helen told me of their stealth, of this their purpose hither, to this wood, and I in fury hither followed, fair Helena in fancy following me. But my good lord, I wot not by what power, but by some power it is. My love to Hermia, melted as the snow, seems to me now as the remembrance of an idle gaud, which in my childhood I did dote upon. And all the faith, the virtue of my heart, the object, and the pleasure of mine eye is only Helena. To her, my lord, was I betrothed ere I saw Hermia, but like in sickness did I loathe this food, but as in health, come to my natural taste, now do I wish it, love it, long for it, and will forevermore be true to it.
All right, so here we see that Demetrius is declaring his undying love for Helena. He's explained to Aegeus, I'm really sorry, Aegeus. I don't know how this happened, but I no longer love Hermia. In fact, I was engaged. I was betrothed to Helena before I saw Hermia. And he's saying, I've come to my senses. I now declare that I am completely in love with Helena, and I will be forever. Now again, this is important to note that Demetrius is still under the love spell. King Oberon plans to keep him under the spell for the remainder of his life. Now, he was a bit of a jerk, wasn't he? So this might not be a bad thing.
Fair lovers, you are fortunately met. Of this discourse we more will hear anon. Aegeus, I will overbear your will, for in the temple, by and by, with us, these couples shall eternally be knit. And for the morning now is something worn, our purpose hunting shall be set aside. Away with us to Athens, free and free. We'll hold a feast in great solemnity. Come, Hippolyta.
All right, so he actually overbears Aegeus's will here. Now, earlier on the play, he said to Hermia, think on your choice and make a choice that is in line with what your father would want. And then he goes on to say that it would not, he is not in a position to change the Athenian law. Except for at that time, I explained, of course he can. He's the Duke. He absolutely can change the Athenian law. It wouldn't be easy, but he could certainly do it. Here in these, in the last few lines, we see that that's what he's chosen to do, in fact. He has overbared the will of the father, which essentially means he has changed the Athenian law, at least in this case. He has set a precedent. And in fact, he's gone even further than that. He says, because these couples have worked it out, I'm going to invite them to get married with me in the chapel on my own wedding day. It will be a very, very joyous cause for celebration, a great solemnity.
These things seem small and undistinguishable, like far-off mountains turning into clouds.
Okay, so again, let's note here that this is Demetrius. Yes, he is still under the spell. So the fact that he says things seem small and indistinguishable, like far-off mountains turned into clouds, this makes sense. Again, he is still under the spell. A little bit later on, Helena is going to say, I'm so pleased that I have found Demetrius like a jewel, like some precious thing found by accident. And she is just the lucky one who is able to claim him. She's going to say, mine own and not mine own. So she's going to say, Demetrius is mine and in some ways not mine. Again, this makes sense because it's like Demetrius is some completely different person. He certainly was a bit of a jerk before, and now he is this new, better version of Demetrius. So that makes sense that she would say mine own and not mine own. Demetrius is then going to say, are you sure that we are awake? It seems to me that yet we sleep, we dream. Now, this is an important thing to note as well, because it also establishes that he is still under the spell, right? He's questioning, why do I feel like I'm still in a dream? It's because you kind of still are, Demetrius. Get used to it.
Thinks I see these things with parted eye, when everything seems double.
So methinks. And I have found Demetrius like a jewel, mine own and not mine own.
Are you sure that we are awake? It seems to me that yet we sleep, we dream. Do not you think the Duke was here and bid us follow him?
Yea, and my father. And Hippolyta.
And he did bid us follow to the temple. Why, then we are awake. Let's follow him. And by the way, let us recount our life.
So here we see Bottom awakening.
When might you come and call me and I will answer? My next is most flattering. Pretty Chris. Suit the birdman, snout the tinker. Starveling! Cross my life. Stolen in and left me asleep. I have had a most rare vision. I've had a dream. Pastor widow man of say what dream it was.
Okay, so here we see Bottom is awakening, and when he kind of comes to his senses, he announces that he has had a very, very rare dream, and to him, it sounds it looked very, very profound, and he's going to say it's beyond his understanding what it means, but he knows that it's very, very important dream, very profound. He's going to go on to say that if he tries to explain the dream, that man is but an ass. Every time man tries to explain things that are unexplainable, it makes him look like an ass. Now again, here we see, this is dramatic irony. We are in on a secret. Of course, we know that he actually was an ass and still is a bit of an ass.
Man is but an ass if he go about to expound his dream. Methought I was. There's no man can tell what. Methought I was, and methought I had. But man is but a patched fool if he will offer to say what methought I had.
Okay, so again, here we see that this is a comment on the human condition. Man is indeed a fool when he is in love. So he's saying, yes, man is but a patched fool.
The eye of man has not heard. The ear of man hath not seen. Man's hand is not able to taste. His tongue to conceive, nor his heart to report what my dream was. I will get Peter Quince to write a ballad of this dream. It shall be called Bottom's Dream, because it has no bottom. And I will sing it in the latter end of our play before the Duke. Peradventure, to make it the more gracious, I will sing it at her death.
All right, so here we see that Bottom is trying to figure out what he's going to do with this experience. And he says, I can't really understand. I think that maybe I was turned into a donkey. I think I might have had a donkey's head. And then he's going to just simply throw it all away and say, I'm not going to even bother trying to explain what happened. I know it was very, very, very important, though. He suggests that what he's going to do is get Peter Quince to write a song explaining this dream because it's so profound. And then he says, it shall be called Bottom's dream. Wow, Bottom, that's so creative. Not, right? Because it hath no bottom. And what he means by this is that he can't get to the bottom of it. He can't actually understand it. Now, even though he can't understand it, again, he is quite convinced that it is of great importance, that he really should share this with everyone because of its profound nature. Okay, so again, he's going to get Peter Quince to write a song. It's going to be called Bottom's Dream. And then he says, I'm going to sing it at the Duke's wedding, possibly at Thisbe's death. Now, this is going to be ridiculous. He's going to sing a song at the death of Thisbe about how he was turned into a donkey and fell in love with the fairy queen? Bizarre. It's going to be ridiculous. However, again, he thinks he is being very profound, but it will probably be very ridiculous. Just imagine it. All right, so here we have come to the end of Act 4. We will, for the rest of the period here, I'll have you take a look at the analysis questions and get started on them. Tomorrow will be a full period for the completion of those analysis questions, and we'll take them up the following day. Please make sure that you are finished the vocab as well for this act. Peace out.